Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. So I'm Saili Hingne and again I have another video lecture for you. So before starting, please do follow us on our WhatsApp and Telegram channels, that is the link of which will be given in the description box of this video. And also in the description box you will get link for our free PDF notes on various subjects. So please do avail your free PDF notes by clicking on the link. And also subscribe to our channel, that is Edufy India, for more such wonderful videos and your free PDF notes, doubt sections, quizzes, etc. Now let's start. Today's topic will be continuation of plant kingdom. It will be part 3. In the first two lectures we have already studied about introduction of plant kingdom. Then the first group under plant kingdom, that is Thallophyta, under which we studied algae. And then the second group we studied was bryophytes. So if you have missed the lecture, please do watch it. You will get the lectures in our channel, that is Edufy India. So let's start with our, which is classified under plant kingdom, that is pteridophytes. Pteridophytes are primitive seedless vascular plants, also called cryptogams. These have clearly visible sporophytic plant body, but invisible or not clearly visible independent gametophytes with antheridia, that is male sex organ, and partially embedded archegonia, that is female sex organ. The term pteridophyte was coined in somewhat 1866. And there are about 13,000 species of pteridophytes that have been reported till now. They were the first land plants which were evolved from a very long time. So now the picture which you can see on your screen, you will get the idea about in how reality the pteridophytes look. Okay. Now we will be discussing about some important features or some characteristics of pteridophytes. So let's start. Our first feature is habitat, that is where they are found. The pteridophytes are found in cool, damp, shady places, though some may flourish well in sandy oil conditions. Some members like Azolla, Salvinia species, etc. Then talking about that plant body, the size of pteridophytes varies from a fraction of centimeter to 20 meter in tree ferns. The main plant body is a sporophyte, which is differentiated into true root, stem and leaves. These organs possess well differentiated vascular tissues. The leaves are small, that is microphylous as in Selaginella, or large, that is macrophylous as in ferns. Now talking about their vascular tissues, these are xylem and phloem. So this xylem and phloem are present throughout the body, and xylem consists of tracheids. Tracheids are elongated cells in the xylem of vascular plants that serve in the transport of water and mineral or salts. Means they help in transport of water and mineral salts. Phloem is made up of sieve cells and albuminous cells. Sieve cells are specialized cells that are important for the function of phloem, which is highly organized tissue that transports organic compounds made through photosynthesis. Sieve cells are the major conducting cells in phloem. Now, the sporophytes. Sporophytes bear sporangia that are subtended by leaf-like appendages called sporophytes. In some cases, sporophytes may form distinct compact structure called strobili or cones, and it can be seen in Selaginella species. The sporangia produce spores by meiosis in spore mother cells. We're talking about their spores. The spores germinate to give rise to not clearly visible, small but multicellular flea-living, mostly photosynthetic thalloid gametophytes called prothallus. In majority of the pteridophytes, all the spores are of similar kinds. Such plants are called homosporous. Homosporous because they have similar kinds of spores, that is same. And genera like Selaginella and Salvinia, which produce two kinds of spores, that is one is macro, that is large, and micro, that is small spores. Such plants are called heterosporous because they have two kinds of spores. Homo means same and hetero means different.
The next characteristic, that is gametophyte. The thyloid gametophyte or prothallus require cool, damp, shady places to grow. The megaspores and microspores germinate and give rise to female and male gametophytes respectively. Megaspores give rise to female gametophyte and microspores give rise to male gametophytes. Gametophytes in this plant is retained on the plant sporophytes for viable periods, means for successful periods. In most ferns, prothallus is green and autotrophic. In heteroporous ferns, that is, they have two different kinds of spores, that is why they are called as heterosporous ferns. In heterosporous ferns, the female gametophyte depends on food stored by the megaspore. Now, next feature is sex organs. The gametophytes bear male sex organs called antheridia and female sex organs called archegonium. Antheridium is sessile. Sessile is a property of or characteristic of plant parts that have no stalk. Flowers or leaves are borne directly from the stem and thus they lack a petiole. So this antheridium is sessile and surrounded by a single layered jacket. Archegonium is flask shaped. It has shape like flask and it is partially embedded. Then talking about the fertilization, water is required for transfer of anthrozoids. Anthrozoids are male gametes produced by antheridia. The male gametes released from the antheridia and reach to the mouth of female sex organ, that is archegonia. Fusion of male gamete with the egg present in the archegonium result in the formation of zygote. Zygote therefore produces a multicellular, well-differentiated sporophyte, which is the dominant phase of the pteridophytes. So sporophyte phase is the ruling phase, that is the dominant phase of the pteridophytes. Now, next characteristic is embryo. Fertilization produces a zygote that undergoes division to produce embryo. The development of the zygote into young embryo takes place within the female gametophyte. This event is a precursor of the seed habit. Precursor is a thing that comes before another thing of the same kind. And in terms of chemistry, precursor means a substance from which one substance or another substance is formed, especially by metabolic reaction. So this event is a precursor of the seed habit and considered as an important step in evolution. Example is Selaginella, Equisetum and Salvinia species. Then furthermore, their economic importance. So pteridophytes are of economic importance. They are a good source of food for animals. Then ferns protect soil from erosion by providing a good cover on the hill slopes and other fragile places. Equisetum stems have rough surfaces and they are used in scrubbing and polishing. Then also Azolla, a water fern, has a symbiotic association with nitrogen-fixing Cyanobacterium anabiana azolla. It is cultured in paddy fields to harbor nitrogen-fixing bacterium. Thus, it acts as a biofertilizer. So this property also gives it economic importance. Also, ferns are grown as ornamental plants. Ornamental plants are plants that are grown or used for decorative purposes in gardens, and they are used as house plants or just as a sample to display. So, because of their graceful body, the ferns are used as ornamental plants.
Now, so in this topic, we will be seeing classification of pteridophytes. Further adding to this topic, there are few classes of pteridophytes. The pteridophytes are further classified into 4 classes. First is Psilopsida. Example of it is Psilotum. Next class is Lycopsida. Example of which it is Lycopodium or even Selaginella species belong to this class. Then Sphenopsida, example of which it is Equisetum, and last class, that is 4th, is Pteropsida, example of it is ferns. So this was about some classes of pteridophytes with their and this are the picture of pteridophyte. This is pteridophytes. This is how they look in reality in the nature. Below the picture, the names are mentioned of the particular plant, and also this is a difference between bryophytes and pteridophytes. Bryophytes were our second group of plant kingdom which we studied in our previous lecture, and our pteridophytes was our today's topic of discussion. So with this table, it will help you to remember some key points of these two kingdoms, their important characteristics, and it will be helpful for you to study. So with these pointers, you can elaborate your answers, and you can also remember these characteristics by comparing their differences, and you can also easily remember the characteristics of these two groups with the help of this table. So go once through this table. I hope it will be helpful for you to study. About our today's lecture. So for more such lectures and our free PDF notes, doubt sections, quizzes, follow us on our WhatsApp and Telegram groups, the link of which is given in the description box, and also subscribe to our channel, that is Edufy India, for more such wonderful study material. Thank you for your attention.